Peace and blessings. This is Raisa Kiwala, the divorced Muslim coach. And today I wanted to share a verse from chapter 39, verse 53 in the Quran that says, "Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the most forgiving, the most merciful." And I know that we've all heard this verse before, intellectually we know this, but at some deep subconscious level, we're not believing it to be true. Because if we did, then we'd be able to forgive ourselves when we make mistakes. And let me share and explain a little bit about what I mean by this, right? We would be able to, instantaneously just turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like without having the guilt that causes us to delay or hesitate. There is a guilt or that comes from regret or remorse, which should cause you to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So there's a difference here, because a lot of times we forget this and we lose sight of this. And, we forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ready with open arms to forgive us, right, as is said in this verse. And this is one of the biggest tricks of shaitan, allowing you to fall into the belief or convincing you or whispering to you that you're just not worthy of this type of forgiveness. You're not good enough and there's something wrong with you in order for you to be forgiven. Well, it just defeats the whole purpose of the whole nature of the human being, of how Allah created us to make mistakes so we can come back to Him over and over and over again, right? And so, in fact, many of the sisters that I support struggle with this because when they're going through divorce, especially going through divorce and trying to heal and rebuild for the next chapter of their life, they have a real hard time with self-forgiveness. And so, it's very easy to get lost and to get sidetracked and to forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in this message that when we sin, and we do because we're human and that's how we are designed, we make mistakes, don't get stuck don't hesitate to turn back, because that is where you're going to find the peace. And this guilt and even this shame is an indicator to turn back, not an indicator to stay in the misery of transgressing against yourself, right? Harming your own self. So when we understand this and remember this at the forefront, then we can start the process of releasing that self-guilt, that self-harm, and that shame, and that blame, and that, harshness, and that judgment on ourselves. And realize that we are turning to the most forgiving, the most merciful, right? And that is the source of where you're going to be able to give yourself permission to forgive yourself. Right, and shed that burden of your sins and your mistakes. And this is the journey that leads to self-care and self-love that we hear about all the time, right? That journey of being able to have self-acceptance for everything that you've done in your past, the things that you've done, the things that you've gone through, things that you did knowingly and unknowingly, those type of mistakes. And when you have that level of self-acceptance, then you can give that to others and not be harsh on yourself and judgmental and critical to yourself and then to others, right? Because the level that we are harsh and judgmental and critical to ourselves is the level that we treat others with as well. And women in general are just so much more harsher on themselves, right? Especially when facing life-altering change such as divorce, which has many taboos and stereotypes around it that are not even rooted in Islam. And so when we remember this verse, we can very quickly and easily go back to the source that is going to give us that healing, to be light and not carry around that burden and that heaviness. And also, I would like to connect this verse to verily in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest, which I found the solution to all the other for me, it's like a gateway into all the other ayahs in the Quran, right? Because truly, when we are remembering, we're conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who He is and what He's capable of and how He's there for us in our life. We can have that. Having that level of taqwa will give us that level of peace. So, I want to share with you that on May 28th, I am running a masterclass called The D Word. Why is divorce such a dirty word? Where we are going to, debunk all of the myths and the stigmas around divorce and all the things that get in the way of remembering verses like this that we know. And you'll find the link below and with all the information to register and sign up and save your spot. And if you like this and it was helpful, please like it, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Raisa Giwala. And I will see you soon. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.